Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with another MatPat FNAF reaction. That is right, we are jumping back into game theory, and we are checking out part 2 to MatPat's first FNAF timeline, and this is called FNAF The Final Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2. Now, this first one we reacted to last week, I gotta say, I'm really loving the first timeline, and it sounds like from the comments you guys are too, but we've always kind of had this question about like Miss Afton or the crying child, you know, who's the youngest, the Gregory, but I'm beyond hyped to see how he's gonna finish out this theory and see what happens. But before we do, make sure you show MatPat at Game Theory some love by subscribing to his channel, and if you enjoy my reaction, smash that subscribe button because it greatly helps. But enough talking. Let's get to reacting and roll that bomb ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo, woo. Oh, I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, hello again, theorists. We have a party planned today, and it's all for you.
I like parties. Let's go.
You ready for round 2? Well, are ya? It's too late to turn back now.
Is it really?
Get ready for a surprise. In 3,
This intro.
2, 1.
Cause it's a game theory.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory! Where, did you know that Funtime Freddy was almost German? Jawohl! Check it out!
Hello, little children. Glad to see you back again. Come closer. I'll sing a song for you.
How wild is that? Forget Freddy
Okay.
Fazbear, it's Freddy Fazbear. Calling it
Fazbear.
right now, FNAF
Freddy
5 gives
Fazbear,
us
yes.
location, FNAF 6 gives us
Ow.
international expansion. So,
Freddy
this is it,
Fazbear.
the end of an era. My last FNAF lore theory until a new game gets released. Makes me kinda sad, actually. So let's make it a good one.
MatPat again. Future Hot Sauce Beast here. You don't gotta worry about it, bro. You got like 50 more videos to make.
We set out to finish the job that we started 3 whole years together.
Let's
Spoiler
go!
alert, purple guy is not the phone guy. Believe me, I tried. So of the 5
We know.
Aftons, last
We know.
time we had killed off 2. Mother and daughter who go on to become Baby and Ballora. Afton's daughter getting
And again, so it sounds like a lot of people actually really love Mrs. Afton being Ballora and not Miss Afton starting, like, carrying on the family name. So, I don't know. We'll never know, though. We'll never know.
Claude results in the immediate closure of Circus Baby's
I really
pizza
do like
world,
this
leading
timeline,
the
though.
company to retire the creepy, rosy-cheeked characters deep underground where memories sleep. But now let's talk about one question I haven't addressed yet, and one that was on everyone's mind during the launch to Sister Location. Where is Chica in all this?
Yeah, where
For the
you at,
first
girl?
time in these
Come on,
games, one of
Chica.
the core 4 animatronics was just gone. That seems significant, right? And it is. I joked earlier about FNAF Lederhosen location, but it touches on an element of these games that we tend to brush aside. That there's a business element running through all of them. Corporate doublespeak and liability talk coming from Phone Guy, parent companies in the form of Fazbear Entertainment, franchising with Sister Location. So what if Chica is missing from Circus Baby's gang because she was her own independent mascot at the time? It's not just wild speculation either. In the Scott Games source code leading up to Sister Location's release, we got all sorts of hints in the form of animatronic maintenance schedules. But mixed in there was a reference to something surprising. Chica's Party World, mentioned by name.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really proves that
I
the
think
character
we've
was
talked
the
about this
mascot of
before.
another business existing at the same time as Circus Babies, which was also a client of Afton Robotics. Chica isn't in Sister Location because she isn't a part of the family yet. She's still a solo act, but we know by FNAF 4 she's clearly a part of the Fredbear and Friends lineup. So it would seem
right,
that
she
Fazbear
is.
Entertainment grew by merging with
Dang
or
right
buying out
she
other
is.
animal-themed restaurants in the area, with Chica being the last addition to the crew and why she's a part of the series from here on out. So no, theorists, contrary to popular belief, it wasn't just Scott trying to reduce the amount of creepy poultry-themed fan art. Let's be real here for a second. Bibs aren't sexy. Just saying it now. All in it like a
Bibs are not
Fazbear
sexy.
Entertainment decides to go all in on the
We like
animal-themed
Chica's
robots
bib, though,
the
because
whole
she got a
clown thing
cupcake
was
and
just
you
a
get
stupid
messy.
idea. I mean, seriously, William, do some market research. Americans are more afraid of clowns than global warming.
I am one of them. I hate clowns, dude. Spiders. We should probably have spiders on there. Spiders tops the list, but clowns is right behind there. Followed up by dolls. Yes, those three things terrify me. Those three things literally usually haunt my nightmares.
Know your consumer, man. Anyway, in FNAF 4, Fredbear's expanded to have himself some friends, and has become so popular that they're in full sellout mode, complete with
Full
plushies,
sellout.
toys, a TV show, and the ever-popular item, masks. Get them now, because I hear they're selling like a god church. None of this would exist if this were truly the first location of a local pizza chain, confirming that this location in FNAF 4 is not where it all started.
Cerebellum time.
Assuming. What we're seeing here is something else.
Get a little
Presumably
chomp
what
chomp on the cerebellum.
Fredbear and Friends, a hybrid restaurant of the old Fredbear characters and the new spin-off ones where every character has their own spring-lock suit. Notice that the FNAF 4 Nightmare animatronics all have 5 fingers. The only other animatronic to have that feature?
Springtrap.
5 fingers because the humans have to wear the suits.
Yep.
Which leads us to one of the biggest debates in this franchise. Is this 1983 or 1987? The bite at the birthday party makes it seem like it's 1987, but the TV says that it's 1983. Never before has so much nerd rage been prompted by discussion over
Nerd
trademark
rage.
dates. Rage that lives on to this day, but now I can finally bring home to the storm.
So early on, chat, was there a big debate on which bite? Goodness, of course, hiccups. Was there a big debate on which bite was when? Like, did people essentially have it reversed? They thought the crying child got bit in 87 and the employee got bit in 83? Because was there not like definitive times of when those happened early on?
This is 1983.
Dang right it
We
is.
know this based on a recent Reddit post Scott made on the subject of whether or not he's ever retconned his story. Quote, "The truth is that I've done one actual retcon in the series, although I'm not going to say where it was. There have been other times, however, when my original intentions didn't come across clearly. In those instances, I make a point to clarify in the next game. I used sister location to clear up a misconception from FNAF 4. End quote. Reading this, the obvious misconception from FNAF 4 was the year the events of the game took place, which, true to his word, he clarified via sister location and the private room camera code of 1983. 1983. When Michael Afton revisits his father's control room decades after the fact, he sees that all along William had been surveilling their family home using
Dang
cameras
right he
that
has.
were password protected by one of the most sorrowful dates of his life. Regardless, neglectful father William participates in the worst bring
What's the song? Here a
your
bear.
son to
What's the song? Here's a bear, there's a bear. Freddy Fazbear. I don't remember it, dude.
day
Maybe we'll hear it
by
though.
taking his traumatized son to a restaurant
Here's
filled
a bear,
with
there's a
robots
bear.
he's afraid are gonna scoop him. And solidly in the no-help column
I'm
is his
terrified of
older
getting
brother who
scooped
taunts
too.
him mercilessly for his fears. The story comes to a climax when the brother's teasing goes too far, getting his younger brother chomped at his own birthday party. At the end of the game, William,
Sad
through
but
his
true.
psychic friend Fredbear observation plushies, patent pending, promises to put his son back
the song?
together. Except he's too late. We hear a hospital flatline faintly in the background as the cutscene ends, meaning that the child dies. But that's far from where his story ends. He appears in every other FNAF game because even though Daddy fails to put him back together, miraculously, the crying child finds his way into becoming the ghostly Golden Freddy. For proof as to why, let's speed things up.
Remember what Scott said in his Reddit post? He tries to clarify things in the next game, and between FNAF 3 and FNAF 4, there's a point he made sure to clarify, the Happiest Day minigame. Notice the masks across the two games, not just symbolic imagery, but a direct reference to the masks worn during the crying child's failed birthday, Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, Chica. The restaurant layout is also the same, just mirror flipped, with 3 party tables decorated with green, yellow, red, purple, and blue balloons. And it's a birthday party as evidenced by the cake. The puppet is
So, and then here's something that obviously gets argued a lot is, so back then, Matt Pat thought that the crying child was in Golden Freddy and not the puppet. The puppet! The puppet! But then, I mean, we see the, you know, the streak on the, so I'm curious what made it, or I guess, is he explaining right here why he thinks it's in Golden
creating
Freddy?
the birthday that was stolen from the crying child, and the mask that the crying child is seen wearing, Golden Freddy. But that's not all. The
I love how I pause and then he answers my question of why he thought that.
crying child gets taken by Death, aka Nightmare, an animatronic who just so happens to have an inverted Golden Freddy color palette, yellow hat and tie with a black body as opposed to a yellow body with black accessories. Coincidence? I think not. It's also worth noting that Nightmare is one of only 2 canon animatronics to have a jump scare that's a static image with strange noises that crashes the game. The other, Golden Freddy.
Which leaves us with 2, William and Michael, father and son.
All right,
Purple
no.
guy and other purple guy. The rest of the timeline is the story of a serial killer father and the son who's following behind, retracing William's steps to undo his father's cruel work and free the spirits of the dead children. This next bit we're all pretty familiar with since it's based on evidence from Phone Guy. The bite of 83 causes spring locks to get discontinued. William, acting as a technician across all the Fazbear restaurants, is responsible for handling the recalled suits and starts using the Golden Bonnie outfit to lure children into the secret safe rooms hidden in the back of each restaurant where he'll be safely off camera. He first strikes on June 26th at the FNAF 1 location. This murder, dubbed the Missing Children's Incident, eventually gets the place shut down, but results in Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy getting newly murdered children to power their engines. Those animatronics, along with the puppet, get shifted to the FNAF 2 location along with some new toy robots linked to a criminal database to prevent a mass murder from happening again. Even some old favorites get pulled out of retirement, specifically Balloon Boy. And with that full roster, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has its grand reopening. Now posing as a security guard, William, with his spring lock crank in hand, not phone, strikes again, causing the place to get investigated. William flees the scene, leaving the day shift security guard position open. Jeremy Fitzgerald moves up to fill the empty slot, but gets himself bit by the agitated animatronics in an event that comes to be known as the Bite of 87, an event that forces the company to cease any free-roaming activities of the animatronics from that day forward.
You can't just have animatronics roaming around freely.
At spotting a child murderer, and the old robots get stored back at the original FNAF 1 location. At this point, though, William knows that these things are alive and angry at him, so he tries to dismantle them using the safe room as his cover. And it would have worked out too if it weren't for those meddling kids, or at least their meddling spirits, because he didn't calculate that the spirits could live on without the animatronic
He gets in the
shells.
suit, and we all know what happens here.
These ghosts by ducking into his trusty murder suit, but his haste coupled with the moisture of the room causes the spring locks to fail and Afton to get skewered inside of the big yellow bunny. The company, trying to save face and, let's be honest, their stock value, covers up William's crime spree by sealing off the safe room with the dying William Afton.
They just block it up.
Inside. I know, but Michael might be Springtrap. We're getting there. The management instructs all Fazbear employees.
Michael is not Springtrap.
Never existed, and another Afton falls victim to a horrible fate. Only this time, he absolutely, totally deserved it. But now let's look at the final Afton, Michael. His story begins with the main gameplay of Sister Location, where Mike Afton, who we learn looks a lot like his father,
they didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you.
Is sent by dear old dad to put his sister back together. A promise that William makes to apparently a lot of his kids. This request of Michael presumably happened some years earlier.
I mean, when your kids keep dying to animatronics and you try and put them back together, you make that promise multiple times.
Mike was still a child, or before Afton ran away to escape murder charges, as implied by him saying,
I'm going to come find you.
Mike succeeds in saving Baby, but gets himself scooped in the process, having his innards replaced with ennards. As we see throughout the canon,
see what he did there? Innards,
this causes his body to slowly decay, turning purple, until Ennard abandons ship to look for a fresher body that'll draw less suspicion. Michael miraculously survives his Ennard enema, and here's where all sorts of puzzle pieces start to fall together. First, we know his name is Michael, but that he also goes by Mike, as shown by his name tag on hand unit. This immediately connects us to FNAF 1's Mike Schmidt, the original security guard, a guy who eventually gets fired for tampering with the animatronics and his odor. It was the first game in the series, so we all thought it was a funny joke, but now we know better. Scott doesn't do jokes. Not only does the name Mike...
Scott doesn't do Scott's not funny.
Match, but a rotting flesh sack with no innards
it was
would
Michael!
Be pretty smelly. And if, true to Sister Location, Mike's mission is to free the spirits of children killed by his dad, he would absolutely be guilty of tampering with the animatronics. It even provides us for an explanation as to why the animatronics would be trying to...
And here's where I kind of struggle, chat. I don't know, because I honestly so I believe no matter what, right? Mike's the one working. But I like both theories. I like the theory that Michael's, going around like freeing all these spirits, burning it down to the ground, trying to undo his dad's work. But then I also see the theory where Michael's going around not necessarily helping his dad, but trying to put his family back together. So it's tough because I see both sides of the theory.
Kill him in the first place. We hear it in Sister Location. He looks just like father, which, man, William, if your face looks like a rotting corpse, might be time to consider getting some plastic surgery. But if all that wasn't enough, we can even
Botox,
tie it in
perfect.
with Golden Freddy's behavior in the game. Anytime Golden Freddy appears in FNAF 1, he's accompanied with the flashing text of, "It's me." As we just saw, Golden Freddy contains the spirit of the crying child, Mike's brother. So the "it's me" is one brother speaking to another brother, making him aware that he's here, he's present, and in need of spiritual release. Now, knowing that Mike Afton and Mike Schmidt are one and the same, rewind to FNAF 2 and the character Fritz Smith, a security guard fired on his first day on the job for what? Odor and tampering with the animatronics. Coincidence? Absolutely not. Scott doesn't do coincidences.
Scott doesn't do jokes.
Afton is literally going location to location, undoing the sins of his father's past and stinking up the places as he do, like Michael says at the end of Custom Night.
I'm going to come find you.
And find him he does at Fazbear Fright.
But before we get to the end of the timeline, let's address the elephant in the room. The fact that Purple Guy is established to be the killer, and Michael is clearly shown to be purple in the Custom Night. So wouldn't that make him the killer? No. As much as I hate to say it, there are actually 2 purple guys, but only 1 real purple guy. Admittedly, I left that purposely vague for dramatic effect, but let me explain. Or better yet, let FNAF World explain. In it, you recruit a familiar-looking purple sprite onto your team, and he says this: "Don't confuse me with the actual purple guy. I'm just a game sprite." And there's the difference. One of these characters is physically purple. That character is Michael. And the other is just a placeholder on the screen. A sprite representing a shadowy figure who, because the background of the minigames happens to be black, had to be colored differently. And that color was purple. But you don't even have to get that meta. It's made pretty darn clear in Sister Location's intro that William is the one who built animatronics intended to capture kids, whereas Michael is established as the one who's trying to save them. Even the timeline supports this. The murders date back all the way to Fredbear Family Diner in the 70s with a guy who's old enough to drive. There's no chance that Michael, the son, would be the right age to be the original purple guy. And lastly, if you believe
It's a good point right there. But also, I think it was the part 1 of this is when I learned that people were even thinking that there was 2 separate killers and that Michael was a killer.
that Michael Afton is also Mike Schmidt and Fritz Smith, as the evidence suggests, then the phone guy calls give you an alibi. Phone guy is talking to you about other security guards being investigated for murder, which implies that you yourself are not guilty.
Mike's efforts to atone for his
you,
family's
lawyer
past
Matt
proved
Pat.
to be successful.
Lawyer
Game by
Matt
game,
Pat.
we see him piecing together the family reunion. Sister Location saw him free both Ballora and Baby. Then in FNAF 3's Fazbear Fright, Afton's younger brother, now in the form of Golden Freddy, receives peace via the Happiest Day minigame. Even the spirits inside Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica get exorcised by Mike, which is why the good ending of FNAF 3 shows 4 empty, unlit animatronic heads. That's also why, come the main gameplay of FNAF 3, the only animatronic that's still active in real life is Springtrap. Mike has been successful
Good
at
point right
appeasing
there, though. That's a
every
really good
other
point.
one of the spirits, leaving him alone with dear old dad.
I'm going to come find you.
Dear old
He gets
Papa.
a job as security
Papa.
guard of Fazbear Fright, and shortly after, the creators of the attraction stumble across FNAF 1's secret room, with the remains of Mike's father spring-trapping around inside. Mike sets the place on fire to finish off his killer dad once and for all, because seriously, did you really think that building just spontaneously caught on fire? Fires in fictional stories always have a dramatic purpose, and Mike would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for that meddling father, who in both the FNAF
meddling
3's
father.
clippings and Sister Location's special ending is shown to have survived the fire and is now undoubtedly more bloodthirsty than ever. The end? Question mark. Hallelujah. The craziest part of all this is when you actually stop and look at the story, there really isn't a need for FNAF 6. Outside of the return of Springtrap,
there's so much need for more FNAF.
The box. Yeah, remember that? Everything
So
else
much need for
pretty
more
much has an
FNAF.
answer. Sure, there are still parts of the tale that could be more fleshed out, like the origins of the puppet or what happens after Ennard gets ejected from Mike, but at this point, all the characters have completed their story arcs. The family is reunited and the spirits are all at peace. It's actually pretty poetic. It took nearly 20 theories and literally weeks of my life studying these breadcrumbs to get there.
There's
but we
always
did
room
it.
for more, Matt
We got
Pat.
to a solution that fit together practically all of the loose ends, and that's pretty darn special. Thank you for being a part of that journey with me. It's been an incredible
Thanks for bringing
ride.
us on
I
the
have
journey.
no doubt that this isn't 100% correct, but you know what? It's an explanation I'm happy with. One that I feel provides a sense of closure to the series, and one that I'm gonna let stand as my final word on the 5 games worth of series lore until a new installment. crap, a new installment that just so happened to get teased immediately after last week's part 1.
That's what always
Scott, don't go getting
happens.
predictable on me.
Every
Calling it now
time.
just so I
Every
can avoid
time,
the inevitable
bro.
prediction theory. It's an installment that looks like it's going to be taking yet another step back in the timeline to tell the origin stories of the puppet. Notice how the sprites are the exact same as the FNAF 2 Give Cake minigames, where the first child gets murdered and the puppet pops out of the screen. Also notice that the rainbow design is a direct callback to the aesthetic of 70s technology, which is when Fredbear Family Diner and the first murder would take place.
There, bear, Freddy Fazbear.
Lastly, the source code on Scott Games keeps saying, what is paragraph 4? Well, paragraph 4 could be relating to a lot of things, but the one thing that jumps out at me is that as soon as my episode went up, this teaser came out. Paragraph 4 of my episode last week
Literally,
happened to
every
be
time
about
he releases
William
something-
Afton's first murders. But before I end all this, let me give the hardest of hardcore fans one more deep dive on the whole Willtrap versus Mictrap debate. Let's speed it up.
Most hardcore fans believe Mike is the purple guy currently in the Springtrap suit, and it's easy to see why. His voice is modified with an electronic effect in the custom night ending, Springtrap pops up at the end of Mike's final words,
I'm going to come find you.
and the purple guy sprite who ends up in the suit is seen releasing kids
I
from
like fast forwarded Matt Bayer.
their animatronics. However, these are easily explained away. We've heard Springtrap talk before, or should I say gurgle before in FNAF 3. And Mike's voice is very different from Springtrap's. Springtrap popping up on I'm going to come find you could very easily just be a visual storytelling element where Mike is stating his mission to track his father down. We visually see that he did it, but oh no, cliffhanger, Dad ain't dead. And we already talked about how
ain't
William
dead.
could very well be dismantling the animatronics to try and stop their attack. So it seems like a pretty balanced debate, or at least it does until you look at the timeline. Based on order of events, William inside Springtrap is undeniable. Whoever is working as Night Guard
agree.
and Fazbear Fright can't just be some random guy off the street. It's someone who has seen both the FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 animatronics, considering he's having hallucinations of Mangle, Balloon Boy, and the puppet, as well as the first generation version of Chica. The only person who worked at both of those places outside of William Afton himself is Michael Afton. Also, we hear that Circus Baby's rentals appeared in the wake of Freddy's Pizza being closed, but the safe rooms were sealed with Springtrap inside while Freddy's Pizza was still open. That's why there's a whole series of phone guy tapes telling employees about the safe rooms, how to use them, and then, oh wait, no, we're closing them down, pretend like they never existed.
Oh yeah, my bad. There's no save rooms. Stay out of there.
If Mike were truly Springtrap, that would mean he never would have had the opportunity to get spooked and turn purple since Circus Baby's rentals wouldn't have opened at that point, and he would have been trapped in the walls of the FNAF 1 location in the Springtrap suit. Lastly, if Mike were Springtrap, then who set fire to Fazbear Fright? I guarantee that fire was intentional. It was meant to finish off the last awful pieces of Freddy's
I agree with that. 100% it was intentional. 100%.
That sort of motive. William is the established killer who would be cocky, thinking that he got away from the spirits by hiding in his golden Bonnie suit, which seems very counter to how Mike behaves. Oh yeah, and let's also not forget Scott confirmed our theories on the killer being in Springtrap years ago. If all of that doesn't convince you, well, I look forward to watching your research.
All right, 12 pages later, I'm finally ready to close this thing
Let's
out.
go!
But hey, that's just a theory. A
game theory!
Now, don't get mad at me when the new game comes out in a few weeks and everyone tells me to do another theory about it. Hey, and a very special thanks to Kellen.
All right, let me bring you in, Sauce King. Hey, so dude, again, for this being, I mean, how old is this? I think what, 5 years? Yeah, so for this being 5 years old, I think in Matt Pat's first timeline, like I think Matt Pat got this one really close to being on point. And it sounds like some of you even like the majority of this timeline more than his newest one. Obviously, again, he's wrong with the crying child being Golden Freddy. We know that the crying child's the puppet. And I guess I can see why he thought it was Golden Freddy, because you see him, you know, put on the mask later on. But yeah, we know that it's Cassidy, right? Yeah, we know that Cassidy's in Golden Freddy and that the crying child's the puppet. But outside of that, I mean, this is pretty on point. I do think more, though, that Michael, I like this one in regards to Michael working there, trying to undo his dad's work and burn the, because I agree, I think Michael burned the place down. And I don't think Michael was, again, not helping his dad, but trying to put his family back together. I just think it makes more sense that Michael was trying to stop all of his dad's work. Which, again, his dad's trying to kill him in sister location. So, I don't know, or not sister location, but FNAF 3. His dad's trying to kill him. So, I think this was pretty good. Let me know what you guys think of this theory. And it seems like, and again, with a lot of your comments from the first one, that people like this theory more than the new Ultimate Timeline. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am absolutely loving these. And make sure you show Game Theory some love by subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed my reaction, please help support the channel by smashing the subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats. And as usual, we cut on one another. That's all I got. Boom, I'm out. Gonna be love for the sauce gang. Sauce gang.